ladies and gentlemen. My name is George Lopez and my amazing wife, Shemaine Lopez. Welcome to the Empowered Lifestyle Network podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest with us today. Her name is Queen Marline. Queen, how are you doing today?
The Queen is doing absolutely well in my royal nest. I'm doing well. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here
Yes,
with King, the King and Queen as well. Kings and queens recognizes each other, right?
amen
Yes,
to
for
that. Amen
sure.
to that.
Yes.
We are not only loyalty, we're also royalty.
There you go.
Oh, I love it. Loyalty and royalty. I think it works very well.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
Yes,
yes.
indeed,
So
indeed.
you're going to be talking to us today about energy medicine and
Healthy choices,
healthy
healthy
choices.
living, and just,
Exactly.
yeah, we got a lot to talk about today. We're
Yes.
so excited that you guys have joined us today.
Mhm.
This podcast, this is our third podcast. We just came back
We are
on
back. I'm
we
so
just came back
excited.
on the network,
Mhm.
actually.
Mhm.
We were on the radio before, so now we are on the Empower Lifestyle Network, and we have this podcast here.
Mhm.
So our podcast is here. It's also, you can watch it live on ELN, Empowered Lifestyle Network. You can download ELN, by the way, on your devices, whether you have Android or iPhones. You can download it there. You can also download it on Amazon TV, on Apple TV, and
Ooh.
no, not yet.
Okay.
You can also watch it on
We're working on
YouTube.
that. We're working
So
on that.
Amazon TV, Apple TV, and I mentioned Android and iPhones. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
and Roku TV.
That's
Yes, that was
thinking.
what, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes. So yes, you can watch us on any one of those platforms. We have people watching from all over the world. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We're excited about this conversation today because we're talking about healthy choices, healthy living, and we the fabulous Queen Marline Richards here to talk to us about it. I can't wait. How about you? Yeah. So if you could just introduce yourself to the audience, let them know who you are. We purposely don't have scripted bios because it's conversation here. So we just wanted to flow.
Well, before I even begin to introduce myself, I just want to congratulate George. I call him the King, and Queen Shemaine. I just want to, just truly salute both of you. A power team working to build and to empower. Earlier touched on loyalty and royalty. They work well together, and I think both of you, you're one of my power couples, and just doing amazing work. Again, with your empowered lifestyle, just the name of it, and it ties right into healthy choices, healthy living, because your goal is to empower others, and similarly, healthy choices, healthy living just does just that. It's about and people would say healthy choices, healthy living. When we got started in 2014, the focus then was teaching our people how to eat well, how to change out some of the toxic stuff that we're putting in our bodies. But now there's the expansion of it because it's not just food, there is so much more. It's healthy choices. And it's about encouraging people with, to make lifestyle changes. And so I'm excited to be here. But congratulations again to both of you for Empowered Lifestyle Network. The fact that both of you are putting this network out there on Roku, I think that's what it's called, right? Correct me if I didn't get it right, but just to make sure that there is a platform that is ours, that is in the community for the community, and that is powerful. And that really, really makes a difference. And I salute both of you for what you're doing to get the empowerment up and out and in a powerful way. So congratulations. I salute both of you. And I'm excited to be here and to be working with you both.
Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the recognition. We really appreciate that. But I tell you what, we all stand on someone's shoulder, and I can definitely say personally, I stand on yours. So thank you very much for being an awesome example. An awesome example.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my love. Thank you. But here I am. Who am I? You know, these are questions that are, you know, the proverbial questions that pretty much everyone asks. Who am I? Why am I here? You know, so, you know, and what is it I'm supposed to be doing in this realm at this time? And I want to say, as we begin to have this conversation, that being on the podcast today with you, you having your Empowered Lifestyle Network, nothing by accident, that everything is coming together at the right time, you know, for the right purpose. And so here I am in 2000. No, before I even talk about healthy choices, who am I? That's what I was about to say, right? Well, in some circles, I am Queen M. Today, I'm just Marline Richards, Healthy Choices, Healthy Living. But you know, the Queen stands out regardless what name she's using at any time. She is the Queen, and you know, you just walk and wear it. But in addition to that, I'm an ordained clergy since 2003. Just imagine that here I am ordained and doing the work in the pulpit. And then 2010, I had a major shift. And the shift happened so that Healthy Choices, Healthy Living could be birthed. How about that? You know, sometimes there's a shift, a big shift, so that something else can be birthed. And Healthy Choices, Healthy Living was birthed as I, you know, experienced my own shift from the pulpit, as, you know, as I was working through it at that time, the standard pulpit functions, and I was shifted into take the message to my people that everything we need, and this is significant, that everything that we need for our health and well-being is already provided to us by the God of our creation. Yes. Right? Everything. And so that was the message that came to me, that moved me out of the pulpit that I was in into the pulpit at large. And I say pulpit at large because this is pulpit at large. You know, even on this podcast, this is pulpit at large. So wherever I go, my message ties right back into, beloved, I wish above all things that you would prosper. What is it? Do what? Prosper and be in health as your soul prospers. So that's been, you know, that scripture that kind of like keeps me buoyed and keeps me, you know, in tune with the work of Healthy Choices, Healthy Living. All right. And so Reverend, Masters in Divinity, yes, all of that. And I'm in the field out there now. I've been in the field, been in buildings, in the community. What have I been doing since 2014? Teaching our people, Queen and King, how to read labels, how to identify things in our chemicals, et cetera, and we won't break it all down today, but how to identify these chemicals in our foods, in our community, that is not really doing us any good service. And so that is part of what I've been doing since 2014. I'm also a graduate of Integrative Nutrition, Institute of Integrative Nutrition. So I am a certified health coach, right? But because and I do health coaching privately, but my biggest work has been education and awareness. My people need to know. The other scripture that has been big for me, fam, is my people are destroyed for lack of what? Lack of knowledge. And so because we are being destroyed, our health, when we look at the statistics, for most of this disease indexes, we're at the top of the disease index. And a lot of it, when we really dig deep into it, what we've been eating is responsible. What we have been eating is responsible for our disease index in our community. And I see King George, like you want to ask a question, go right on ahead.
Yes, yes.
It's a conversation.
I'm going to call you Queen throughout this podcast. I hold you in high regard as a royalty. What are some of the challenges that you've come across in your business, healthy choices, healthy living, with not only our people but with the food industry?
All right. One thing we know for sure, and I'm gonna walk the best walk I can walk with regards to that, is that in our community, we the truth is the truth. In our community, most of the foods that we get, it's changing a little, but most of the foods that we have in our community, by the time it gets to us, the nutrient content is almost not there. All right. So we're talking about very little in terms of nutrients. We're talking about ultra, and I'm using the word because it is, and the NOVA index classification talks about ultra processed food. So we have different degrees of processing. When Queen Shemaine, when you cook in the kitchen, cooking is a processing. Yeah. When we cook, when we bake, when we steam, that's all processing. However, there are different degrees of processing of our foods. When the food is processed to the point where you hardly recognize any of the original substances, the original nutrients, that it was created with, then that food is then ultra processed. All right. And when most of our food, if you go into our supermarkets in our community, almost 70% of the foods in our supermarkets are ultra processed.
Wow.
Yes, that is scathing. About 70%. All right. The other piece of it too that's happening in our community, and I see young children, and this is why, part of our work is also to the young people. All right. We have the next gen, and our goal is with Healthy Choices is to help to get them early to understand that at the end of the day, we have a responsibility to encourage our young people from the get-go to begin to eat healthy. What happens if we don't start early is that we develop habits, right? Food habits. And we're going to go for the foods that are ultra processed with very little nutrients. Very little nutrients. When a young person or an adult, any one of us, when we grab a bagel in the morning, and and then I see young kids, they go to Dunkin' Donuts in our community. I watch it. I actually sit back sometimes and just see who comes into a Dunkin' Donut. And I live near to one, so I'll go sit and observe. And I've observed our young people come in and they grab donuts in the morning. And then they'll get a Snapple, right? Now, the Snapple, one bottle of those Snapple, roughly speaking, have and I should have about 13 teaspoons of sugar in one serving. In one serving. It's funny, the other day, my grandson was at some tennis match, and he walked through the door and he handed me a can of crushed soda, orange soda. And he said, "Grandma, look at how much sugar is in this can of soda." Let me tell you, when I looked at it, now this is my 10-year-old grandson, but he's around. We have been teaching, right? He recognized how much sugar, and we're not talking about sugar, cane sugar. We're talking about high fructose corn syrup. You hear? High fructose corn syrup. And fructose is a natural sugar. However, we're not talking about in its natural form. We're talking about fructose coming from the corn. You take corn, you take it to the lab, and you create high fructose corn syrup. Now, if you look at just about every soda or every one of those drinks, they have now high fructose corn syrup. Back in the days, they actually would have had sugar. Now they're high fructose corn syrup. And we have to ask ourselves, why high fructose corn syrup? Because it's cheaper to produce. Mm-hmm. It is cheaper. So that's what is in our community. Go ahead.
So how can parents, because I hear you talking about the children, and children are fed by their parents. So what are some of the things you can say, you would say to parents right now that are raising children and they're maybe dealing with, the inflation and the cost of food and all of these different things that's happening in the world right now. So what advice would you give them in terms of what a typical breakfast should be for children, what lunch should look like, what dinner should look like, and how can we utilize the food that we have access to in our supermarkets and even in our homes? How can we maybe plant some herbs and spices in our homes? What can we do, or what can parents do? And then also, on the flip side of that is, can individuals do? Even if you don't have children, what can we do right now to engage in healthy food processes within our home?
Well, there's so much that we can actually do, though. And sometimes it seems as if there's nothing to do more than just keep going along with the program. But conversely, there's a lot that we can do. You touched on spices, herbs, et cetera, et cetera. And I'll just share one of the things that we've done with the young people. We've actually taken them to local farms in our community, because there are some local farms in our community. We've had several trips, right? And one of the projects that we started our young people on was actually with the urban grower, Sister Brenda, and she gave them little seedlings to come home with, right? And we actually worked it into like a competition where they actually went home and they planted, and we had them actually chronicle the growing process right at home. And they picked different herbs, different spices, and they did this right at home. Now we're not talking about any one of the children had a backyard. Nobody had a backyard to work with. So I want to put that in up front, that you don't need a backyard to grow some herbs, grow teas like mint, for example. Mint was a big one for us. I have mint on my window, Yes, I do. We got mint. We have other things that we have here that we grow. Now, interestingly, out of that project, and at the end of the project, we had what we call a show and tell. So, and the children were actually, gifted. We actually had a little competition, and we had judges, and they actually got, a little monetary prize just to encourage them. Yeah. Let me tell you, one of the young persons right now, he's leading the charge of the hydroponic. We're getting them into hydroponics as well. So there's one young man who and he wrote a beautiful poem about the process of growing his herb in his house. Do you know what he's doing right now in his house? And we don't have time to get pictures and show you, but at his house, he has continued yes, he has continued. So here is a young person right here in Brooklyn who got started, and now he is doing his own herbs and some little vegetables in his yard, in his window, right over there in Flatbush Avenue. So he's no backyard, but he's doing it. We have him now working with the whole concept of hydroponics, right? And I'll tell you more because we're looking, the other day we're talking about who are we going to reach out to raise some funds to actually fund what they're doing. All right. So that's with our children. One of the things too that we have done with the young people, and I'm talking about the young people because they're the next generation. And we have to start with them now. All right. If we don't start with them, guess what? Somebody else is going to get their attention. And that's what's critical. If my grandson could not bring a soda, and when I looked at that crush, 86% RDV, your recommended daily value of the sugar, right, was 86% on that one can. So one can.
That
86.
That is something. That is really something. So I hear you saying that parents can actually engage in activities with their children.
Absolutely.
Possibly Depot, or where can you get plants? You can, or they can get some.
You have them
seeds.
at Home Depot. You have them at Lowe's. Yeah. You have them at the garden stores.
Yes. So they can get seeds and actually start planting with their children. That's a nice activity to have with your children. And I hear you saying that the kids are so inspired because they're seeing life take place. And life that actually can nourish them. So that I love that idea of engaging the children and the youth in the planting their own herb garden right in the house.
And in addition to that, Queen, I noticed in your background you have plants.
I do.
Yes, I do.
In your background, and one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that plants do give off oxygen. Okay. We need the plants and the plants need us because
absolutely
carbon dioxide and the plants need that carbon dioxide. They give off the oxygen. We need the oxygen. So we have a process where we need plants, plants need us.
Absolutely.
Exactly. There you go. That's the word.
Yes.
You were looking for symbiotic, huh? You got it.
Exactly.
Yes. So this sounds very exciting. And so for parents, I hear you saying looking at healthier stuff in the morning, maybe fruits and vegetables
and some oatmeal could very well be a part of it. Healthy. And when you do the oatmeal, you can add some flax to it. It's rich in omega, also fiber. Chia seeds, rich again, and they're high in protein, natural proteins. All right. So not only do you have fiber, you have omega-3s, and you have protein as well. And as we touch on fiber, that's another area that we're deficient in as well. Most of us are deficient in fiber. Yep. And so the more you can put fiber in our bodies, and I'll just say that importantly is that in our gut, the microbiome of the gut, they love fiber. Yes, that's their preferred food. All right. So we always want to make sure that our food is fiber rich. Okay.
Fiber rich food that people could think about. And now I also want to ask, I love oatmeal, but I love having it with a little bit of honey.
A little honey, yeah. Make sure it's raw. Make sure you use some raw honey. Make sure it's raw honey. Yeah.
Raw, that's all I use. So raw, or sometimes I'll put agave nectar in it. But so most kids would want to have a little bit of sweet in their oatmeal. So
and that's fine. That's fine. The other thing that you can also bring into your oatmeal, you can bring in some dates. Those natural.
A day.
You can bring in some dates. You can bring in some, you could probably even bring in some cranberry. You could bring in some raisins. You just don't want to overdo it, but you could bring those in as well. Those are natural sugars. And if you actually work it, you might not even need to put some of the other stuff because you have enough sugar and fiber also coming in from the date. That's a good source as well.
I eat one date a day. I just started doing that maybe about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. I also take her on dates.
Give her one date before she goes on the date.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were talking about fiber. What are some fibers that people can have on a daily basis, and how much fiber is recommended?
I can't remember off the top how much is recommended. However, you want to, your oatmeal is going to have fiber in there, right? And like I mentioned, your flax seeds, definitely a good source of fiber, your hemp seed as well, your chia seeds. You want to make sure that you have just a real balanced proportion of these things. All right.
Okay. So chia seed, hemp seed, flax seed, oatmeal, great.
Yeah, those are powerhouse for, and listen, you can do some quinoa as well.
Quinoa, okay.
Yeah, you can use quinoa in the mornings as well. There's, you're not as restricted and limited as we tend to say. Well, I encourage to go more whole foods, plant-based. And I'm not telling people don't have any meats, but we are also saying if you're going to do meats, make sure that you're not getting the meats that are packed with hormones. You want to make sure that you're getting the healthier, the animals that are grazing out there. All right. The animals that are caged, that's not the best thing for us. All right. So even the farm raised fish, we got to pay attention to those things. When there are anything that is sequestered, they are not going to get enough range to move around. They're also going to get they use a lot of hormones and antibiotics in those animals, to keep them healthy. And it's important for us to understand if the animal is fed hormones or fed antibiotics to keep them healthy, that goes into the tissue of the meat. So when you eat the meat that has hormones or antibiotics, then you're also engaging, you're taking that in as well. So we're only said, it's what you eat, but it's not just you're what you eat, but you're what you ate from whatever you ate, what did they eat?
Yes.
What did the cow eat? What did the chicken eat?
And to include what's in this the fertilizer as well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. That's another big piece. Another big piece with regards to why we go ahead.
It's hard to look at, and I commend what you're doing for looking at labels, because you got to know what you're eating. You have to know that. But the question is, how do we know where this food was planted? How do we know what was in the soil that we're eating, what we are reading?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of difficult, isn't it?
It is indeed difficult. This is one of the reasons why, in a big way, we still encourage, organic when possible. We teach, when we do our teaching, we work with the EWG, Environmental Workers Group. They do a very, very, very respectful and honorable analysis of foods every year, right? They have a list that they call the Dirty Dozen. Yes, there's a list called the Dirty Dozen, and the Dirty Dozen, they call it dirty because when they test them, they are full of a whole bunch of chemicals, the list of chemicals, right, that these produces are sprayed with, right? Your strawberries. Yeah. In other words, the conventionally grown strawberries, conventionally grown spinach, kale, your grapes, your peaches, your pears, your nectarines, apples, your bell peppers, your cherries, blueberries, green beans. They're all listed on EWG's, which is a very respected list. They call it the dirty dozen. In other words, they are sprayed. And so the recommendation usually is, if you're gonna get strawberries, if you love it, and we should be eating it because naturally it has so much phytonutrients in there that we should be eating it. However, if it's sprayed to the hilt so that it's considered dirty, then what do? So most of the strawberries in our community, guess what? They would be classified as on the dirty dozen, but that's what's in our community. Yes.
So then
and
people may say, I don't want to eat anymore. So what do you eat, right? So
what's on the other side, the alternatives to eating what's dirty is, of course, use as best as you can apple cider vinegar to do your best to clean these produce. Are you gonna get clean when you finish, nothing left on it? Maybe not. I think the verdict is out as to how much chemicals you really get off of the produce when you use the apple cider vinegar. And I'm saying use it. If you cannot afford, and I'm telling you, I walk in our community on purpose to see what's there. There are times when I'm in those stores that sell the produce, and I'll be having conversations with our people, and like I would be pointing out stuff to them and say, maybe you might not want to choose that because it's on the dirty dozen, right? When there is a choice, the preference is if you have to buy it because there's no organic alternative, then you buy it and you go do your best with cleaning it as best you can.
As you mentioned that if there's no other alternative, you go ahead and buy it. And I am comparing the 1 minute oats compared to old-fashioned oats. People tend to want to buy the 1 minute preparation oatmeal as opposed to the old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a microwave society. People want their food prepared like here and the now. Not to get too deeply into the discussion, would you prefer or would you advocate the 1 minute compared to the old-fashioned oatmeal?
I'm gonna go with old-fashioned anytime. As a matter of fact, my preferred oatmeal is the sprouted oats. That's my preferred. That would be.
Why is that?
Well, the 1 minute oat. Again, we talked about the processing earlier, right? That there are degrees of processing. Your 1 minute oat is very processed. It's very processed so that it could be cooked quick. Do you get some fiber and some nutrients in there? Yes, you're gonna get, but if you go step it up back to the old-fashioned, you're gonna get more. And then you take it up to the sprout, you're gonna get even more. And a lot of our people don't do sprouting, don't understand sprouting. But the process with the sprouting, now you're getting younger oats. That's what the sprouted one is. Just like when I go to the store, because I know the value, for example, even with broccoli. Broccoli has sulforaphane, good for cancer. All of that stuff is really, really touted, and it's a fact. However, the sprouted broccoli is even more powerful than the grown adult broccoli. And research is there to show you that the sprouted one has more potency. It's more nutrient dense, it's younger and more viable, and the potency is certainly higher. And so yes, that's why I choose and going that route. Yeah. And for broccoli, alfalfa, if you can get those sprouts, I want to encourage people to start using sprouts. You get more potency as well.
I have a question. So if you can't get to, say I want to have strawberry and the parents want to give strawberry to their children, but it's on the Dirty Dozen, maybe apples as well. Can they choose frozen apples and frozen strawberry? Is that a better option? I'm just asking them.
You know what? Okay. So just going back to the strawberry. So we know it's on the Dirty Dozen. First choice is, do you have access to organic? Do you? Maybe, maybe not. Truthfully, in our stores, in our community, I don't see, very rare you see any organic strawberries. Very rare you see certain things in our community. So in our community, you're already up against you're pushing against a wall. It's a challenge to find, especially in most of our communities, we call a food desert. The quality of food in our community for a lot of time is suspect. The quality is suspect. And it's truth. It's suspect what comes into our community. So one of the things, and I'll back up a little bit, we talked about the farms earlier, that we have urban farmers in our community, right? For example, the farmer that we work with, she runs about 5 farms between Brunsville, and East New York. All right. What we have been doing, what we're encouraging our people to do, was to buy local. Right? Go buy from your urban growers. If nothing, you know that they're not using high chemicals to grow their produce. And you know what I'm saying? They're not allowed, and they're not. Okay. Whatever they use, it's within, regulation, right? Within urban growing. Okay. So our recommendation would be, go urban. Go to your urban farmers. Go to your farmers market. Your farmers market is usually sourcing produce that's grown within like 100 miles of your town. All right. Like, for example, we're in New York. They're coming from upstate New York, or maybe even New Jersey. All right. Mostly, maybe a little from Pennsylvania, but we're talking about within reach. The other stuff that's coming in, who knows how far they're traveling for, how long they've been traveling, and the further the distance that your fruit and produce travels to come to you, that by the time it gets to you, your nutrient content has depreciated significantly, and that's a fact. First of all, most times they're picking those things green. Sometimes they're young. If they're traveling from, where, because they have to make sure that they can travel and come in and not, and still have something to sell. So we have to look at that. So alternatives, urban, go to your urban farmers, go to your farmers market, your local farmers market. And then, of course, we say, grow whatever little you can grow for yourself.
Queen, a lot of the foods that we eat are baked. And a lot of the food that we eat are also fried. What are some of the recommended oils, fryer oils, that you would recommend for us to use? I know polyunsaturated fats is one of the high ones that are used out there commercially, especially in certain places that I won't name. But what are some of the oils that you would recommend for us to use in our homes?
Well, so we do fry a lot. We need to cut down on frying. That's number one, right? We need to cut down on that. If we want to step away from the oils even for a moment, maybe I understand the air fryer. If you have to fry, I understand that the air fryer is comparable. I don't have one because, frying is not something, we do a lot around us. But if you're going to fry, maybe you might want to check out a air fryer. But if you're definitely going to fry, the oils, avocado oil has a high smoke point. So you might want to consider avocado oil. Now, some people would say that's too expensive. Maybe it's too expensive to fry with, But I say to folks, look, we have to contend with our health now, pay now,
pay later.
By buying more expensive stuff, or pay later. When you pay later, you're going to pay dearer because your health then is already shot. And now you have to be and it's affecting everybody around. So you pay now, buy the better quality stuff. That's what I encourage people, buy the quality stuff, right? And I'm not knocking people, people have to make choices. But if I was, you have some other stuff that you probably could leave alone and put the money in your food. That's all I'm saying, People have their choices. Again, this is why it's called healthy choices. My choice is, and I recommend all the time, pay now. In other words, spend the money on good quality food. You are what you eat. Your health is what you put in. All right. So spend and get some good stuff. But the oil, again, avocado oil has a high smoke point. Coconut oil has a medium smoke point, but don't you ever fry. And I keep telling people, don't you ever fry with olive oil. Don't do it. All right. You damage the very delicate molecules in the olive oil, and then that could become toxic for your body. So you don't want to fry with olive oil. And I know some people do. You shouldn't be frying with olive oil, family.
Well, I am so glad that you mentioned that because, we have olive oil in our pantry. So I'm going to make sure I throw it out this evening and go get me some avocado oil.
Yeah, but your olive oil, you can use olive oil, but drizzle the olive oil over your thing. Drizzle, Yeah, because olive oil has good polyphenols in there. That's really good for your heart and good for your body and good for your skin as well. So it's not that it's bad. It's just how do we understand it and use it properly? Right?
We have rosemary in our yard, so we actually I put rosemary in our olive oil, so we make our own rosemary olive oil, and that's what we drizzle on our foods.
Good drizzle. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Here,
yep, and good for the hair, good for the hair, good for the skin, good for memory, family. That rosemary. Mm-hmm. It's good for the brain. Yes. Good for memory. All right.
We do have a garden in the back, and my wife had recommended that we plant some rosemary last year. So I must say thank you, babe. Greatly appreciate it. The rosemary,
very, very often in the house.
Yes. I use it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I love all of the suggestions. And when you were talking about alfalfa and the broccoli sprouts, stem cells, and that's what they reminded me of, like stem cells of the
yes. Yeah, but and I know we're talking healthy choices. I'm not sure how much time we have left.
Another 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
10. So I thought about that, and I just wanted to mention that. I want us to pivot for a little bit and talk about energy medicine. And then I also want us to talk about the upcoming health and wellness conference, because one of the reasons why we're having this health and wellness conference in October 25th, 26th, and 27th in Virginia Beach at the Wyndham Hotel.
Come on out, people. Come on out.
Yes, it's an oceanfront hotel. We will do some grounding. You can go into the water if you want to. I mean, it's really good. There's 2 pools, a heated pool and an outdoor pool. It's beautiful, beautiful location. So come on out for that. But I want to talk a little bit about this health and wellness conference that we have coming up, and what can people expect from healthy choices, healthy living at this health and wellness conference.
Well, I'm we're looking forward to this dynamic conference. And yes, healthy choices, healthy living, we will be there. We will be there along with, some other powerful team members, including, herbalists and licensed pharmacists. That's part of our team that we will be there. I will be there with, and I neglected to say, yeah, and I know you talk about energy medicine, that yes, I am also a certified Eden energy medicine clinical practitioner. So we will be talking energy. We will be teaching our people, about what energy is. And Einstein says energy is everything. And I'm sure it wasn't necessarily his original statement, but he made it popular to the point that you need to listen. Energy is everything. Everything is energy. Tesla said it also. Nikola Tesla said it also. And not too long ago, Mehmet Oz on one of the Oprah shows talked about energy medicine being the last frontier of healing. Yes, yeah, and I think it's just phenomenal to be in a place where I get to talk about energy at the conference. I get to myself and my fellow practitioner will be there. We'll be talking about how recognizing that energy is your life force. We will be talking about how energy flows through our body and impact every cell. Just imagine that we have in our bodies, unrecognized for most part, because most people don't have a clue that in our bodies, just like how we have the circulatory system and blood is flowing through the body through the arteries and the veins. Similarly, we have energetic system in our body. We have energy flowing, which is our life force. It is subtle, but it's there. And research has proven the impact of this, how it impacts every cell in our body, every process, every intricate structure of who you are and how you function. Hear this, down to our very DNA. Down to our very DNA. Now, just imagine that here is this subtle energy flowing through our body. And earlier you talk about grounding, right? That we're going to ground by the beach. But in our energy medicine session, we're going to teach people about grounding, how we ground ourselves when you can't get to the beach, when you can't get to put your foot in the wet grass, because yes, we ground, and it's necessary for us to ground our body, because just like how a house has to be grounded electrically, similarly, this body, which is a house, it houses who we are, the spirit of who we are. This house has to be grounded electrically as well. And we have simple techniques that we'll be teaching. We have some beautiful, simple techniques designed by our master teacher, healer, and founder of Eden Method, Donna Eden. And that's where I'm certified under Eden Energy Medicine as a clinical practitioner. Yes, thank you. And myself and my other practitioner, we will be there. We will be coming forth teaching you simple but powerful, profoundly impacting techniques that you can do at home. We want people to understand that the body is designed to heal itself. It is. We are wonderfully, beautifully made. We have to understand that. And one of the things I want to encourage us to is to just be so grateful, and each day express gratitude for life and for our body and the life force that flows through it. All right. And so we'll be teaching about this subtle energy that's so beautifully flowing. Oh my God, just think of this beautiful energy flowing through your body, impacting every cell, every organ, down to your very DNA. Well, we're going to talk about that at the conference. Yes,
So
we will.
I love the sound of that. And I recommend folks, if you are listening to this podcast, you need to come on out to our Health and Wellness Conference in Virginia Beach. It's located at 5700 Atlantic Avenue. It's away from all the hustle and the bustle of Virginia Beach.
Yes.
It's in a quiet neighborhood.
Yes.
And you're going to love it. Yes, it's the Wyndham Hotel.
Yeah.
Just recently I was listening to an herbalist or holistic individual, and he had talked about the benefits of spinach and beets and how they can help the blood cells or the flow of blood within the arteries. It can prevent the clogging of the arteries. Mm-hmm. And for a lot of men who suffer from things like ED, who suffer from, different types of illnesses, beets is highly recommended. Spinach is highly recommended because it has a lot to do with clogging of the arteries. And the more spinach and the beets, it declogs or they declog the arteries, which allows blood to flow, okay? Oxygenated blood to flow. So, oh my goodness, I've been eating a lot of spinach, a lot of beets, a lot of drinking. Oh my goodness. You're laughing.
And for those who might have some prostate issues, we're going to be talking about Brazil nuts and all those things we're going to be talking about. We're also excited, as you touched on that, King George, about the session that we're going to have all around reproductive health. For males and females. So males and female, you're out there. We are going to be talking about sperm viability. Yep. A lot of people don't know that sperm viability is an issue in our community. It is. And we're going to talk about it there, right? We're going to talk about prostate issues.
Can you explain what sperm viability is? What is that for those?
That is sperm count. That they have, a lot of our men have low sperm count.
So who would be appealing? Who would that be appealing to? Would that be young people who are thinking about having children, or younger people, adults who are thinking about having children? Or is that for middle-aged men? I don't. Can you explain a little bit, just so?
No, I think you have what the research is showing, that a lot of our young men are experiencing sperm issues. Their sperm count is low. So your young men, I would say middle-aged, we want to make sure that we're looking into those areas and bring it to the forefront. Again, our goal is, it's about education and awareness. Bring it to the forefront. Let people know, and we're going to bring the research. Like the young people say, bring the receipts, right? We're going to bring the receipts to show what the research is showing is happening with our young. We have young men in their 40s who are even younger, who are having issues with sperm count, sperm viability. Yeah. And so those are stuff that we'll be addressing. And then of course on the female side, we'll be addressing endometriosis, PCOS, and yes, yeah. And so we're looking forward to just a wonderful conference full of information. And the beauty about what we're planning for the conference is that it's not only just going to touch on that, we're going to be bringing the practical pieces to it, and then of course, I think, King George, you're going to be there with pickleball as well, the pickleball clinic. And then we're going to have some somatic movement. We're going to have all of that, massage. It's going to be a powerhouse 3 days. And for those who have not registered yet, come on, register. We're looking.
We have a bus. There's a bus leaving from the New York, New Jersey area. So if you're in the New York, New Jersey area, just go to Eventbrite, look for Empower Health and Wellness, and you can actually get your ticket for the entire weekend. There's a bus leaving from New York, New Jersey area, heading here to Virginia, Virginia Beach. The prices are incredibly reasonable. So, don't even let that be a deterrent, because the prices are really very reasonable. So don't think you can't afford it. A few people said that they're looking at it as a retreat for themselves and their friends. So this is also a great opportunity to come out and retreat with your friends and, be at the beach, wonderful view from the hotel, and just get the information you need to be healthy, to go back into your environment and bring health and wellness at the core, because health is wealth, right?
Ooh, you took that right out of my mouth. I was just going to say that. Yes,
we won.
Health is wealth.
And so, if you are interested in getting a ticket, go to the Eventbrite, look for Empower Health and Wellness Conference, and you will find it right there. It's at the Wyndham in Virginia Beach. And you can also go to empoweredlifestylenetwork.tv, and there's a link there as well. So you can use that link that takes you right back to Eventbrite. And also you can give us a call at 757-512-8951. Again, the number is 757-512-8951 if you want to learn more. If you're interested in coming as a vendor, or maybe even think about sponsoring, it's a great opportunity to come out and definitely have the impact that you want to have for yourself and your family. So definitely come on out. You're going to you can also book on site.
Yes. Services.
Want to get a pickleball clinic, or if you want to have an energy session,
one-on-one.
Then one-on-one, you can book it for that weekend as well. The massage therapist, if you want to have a massage that weekend, everything will be there. And then on Saturday night, we're doing dinner dance. Okay, so we're gonna learn how to really. Some people know how to dance already, but we're gonna now take it to a whole nother level. We're gonna have some ballroom dancing. We're gonna have some soca. We're gonna have some reggae, some African dancing. But learn how to dance it properly, because very often we're just moving around. So we want to learn how to dance. How to really the steps of the dances, and what did I and that's a dinner and dance for Saturday night. So come on out if you're in the Virginia Beach area, or if you're in the Campton Roads area. It's a great opportunity to come out and have a good time. We're also going to have R&B, so some soul music. So and I have a little surprise I'm working on. So I will announce it on Wednesday.
We can't tell you what the surprise is.
We can't tell you what it is yet, but we're going to announce it on Wednesday,
Yes.
and I'm telling you, you're going to love it.
Yes.
So come on out and get registered for the Empower Health and Wellness Conference. This has been such an amazing conversation. We thank you so much for your time today. Queen Marline Richards, Healthy Choices, Healthy Living. And I love that. You know what I love about you? You go and you get the receipts. You go and you get the certification. So you're not just talking, you're walking the walk.
Look at her. She's glowing.
Yes.
Look at her.
Yes.
So
I texted her the other day. I'm like, lady, you are glowing. Just beautiful.
She looks so beautiful.
Let me tell you, energy medicine. I told someone, I was in a session the other day, and I said to them, I love healthy choices, since 2014, we've been out there doing this work, just raising the awareness and just helping people to change their life and lifestyle. But I want to add one quick thing that I said to them. I can't